What's up everyone? In today's video I'm going to be talking about crypto charts and how to read them a little bit as a complete beginner. Now this is not going to be a video that is going to make you the best trader in the world. It's going to be a video to go about the basics of reading a chart. And I think it'll be very valuable and a little bit beginner friendly to go through this video before you go to any advanced videos. All right, let's just get into it and bear with me. All right, so here we are at my personal trading view chart. I've kept it really basic and I will use the word naked because that will be important later in the video, but this is my naked price chart on which we can see action. And that relates to naked price action. So that is a bit of an important term. I will get back to that in a little bit, but let's turn on everything else. So this is very confusing. A lot of lines, a lot of meaning, a lot of stuff happening. So let's just quickly turn that off again and we'll go through each and every one that I use. Basically, RSI, Relative Strength Index, it shows how strong an asset is at this point. We're talking about Bitcoin today, so it shows the strength of Bitcoin. Now, it's basically a visual representation of what is happening here as well. We can see prices crashing here. We can see it going below that line, below the strength index. Now, volume. We can see a lot of selling volume here. Red candles selling, green candles buying. So we've seen a lot of selling spikes on these charts, and that relates in the price going lower. And just slowly slide that down a little bit. So that's another thing that relates. So I will use one indicator in this video. There's thousands of indicators. You do not need to bother with every single one right off the bat, but one that's most commonly used is BB, basically the Bollinger Bands. Now this is basically another representation of that strength. It's showing whether something is bought or sold, overbought or oversold. So right here it was overbought, the price corrected down, and basically at here it was oversold and it corrected up. So usually when it touches these lines, we see a little bit of a reversal. So reversal, important word, or price reversal basically means the price reverses at a certain point, goes up or go down. Now let's turn the Bollinger Bands off real quickly. Now, if we see this happen, if we see a price being pushed down a lot, so even without all the indicators, I like to think of the price as a rubber band. Now, what happens if you extend a rubber band? It's very likely to pull back, reverse, basically push back on that price. And the same can be said for a price that goes up, and it corrects down. And even it's here, it happened there, and it happened there. So basically, when it gets overbought, oversold, we see a correction of the price either up or down, which is a reversal. Now, a reversal can be very big, it can be very small, so it's not an exact science. Be very careful of that, to blindly trust that. But naked price action, there we go with the naked price action, basically means we see a big sell-off or a very big buy. It's very likely that we see the opposite happen. I think it's very important that you teach yourself to see that price without thousands or hundreds or tens of indicators or signals or something like that. Basically learn to look at what the price is doing. Now this is a lot harder than it sounds, and even the toughest traders in the world struggle with this every day, but I think it's important to know at a price where you see a very big sell-off, and we can see it already happening here. We saw a very big sell-off and we see a little bit of buying pressure come in. And obviously we saw the same happen here. And obviously we saw the opposite happen here. We saw a very big sell-off, then we saw a bit of green pop up, and similar here. So after a big sell-off, we see buys. After a big buy, we see sell-offs. And this is a perfect example. When we see the price move down, We saw a buy, but the sellers were stronger, so we got another sell off. But we did see that tension release to the upside. Now, that is naked price action. Now, when we grab the Bollinger Bands, and what we also want to do is a very often term that's used is supply and resistance levels. And basically what that means, let's turn this one off a little bit, turn that one on. So I drew all these lines. They seem very confusing, but what they are a representation when we saw those tension releases, those reversals in the past. This one's yellow because we're not 100% sure if it is a good support, because we saw a tension release, but we don't know if it's going to keep going down. So that is a very important one. And that is still, I like to call limbo, because we don't know. That's why it's yellow. It's not red. It's not green. We're not exactly sure at this moment. So during very volatile times, it did touch it twice, and here it bounced. It broke it. It blew below it. It went above it. It's found support and it's shot up. It found support here and it shot up. Basically here, it broke it, but it didn't hold it. It went back below it. And during very volatile times like this, the price can differ from these levels. So it's not a very strong level in this case. But it is a level on a daily chart, which is daily time frames always are a little bit more stable than lower time frames. Lower time frames tend to be a lot more volatile. Daily time frames tend to be a lot more stable. So it did bounce here and it bounced considerably, but it seems to be selling off again. Now, what I did is basically I plotted the routes of support and the routes of resistance. And what I expect is to see price movement between these levels. So what we can do is we can basically, let's say it breaks below this. It's very likely that we see either this happen, or we see this happen, or we see this happen. Now, after that, it can go sideways. It can go up past that level into that. Or we can see this happen and we can go further down. Basically, prices tend to move between these zones. And I say zones, not exact levels, because sometimes these levels can be a little bit finicky, especially if they're not very strong support or resistance levels. So it can happen a little above or a little below that. So you should try to take that into account when you're trading. Grab the indicator really quickly. And this is basically how prices move. You can see this here. It bounced off of this level and it bounced back down from that level and it broke it. So it bounced a little above this level where I drew it, and it bounced several times, tried to push on, went above it, didn't keep that level and completely rejected it and shot down. And as you can see, like these levels, they're not exact signs, but they do. The price does adhere to them. So we see reactions around these levels. We see reversals. We see price action. Now, we can combine this with that Bollinger Band. And basically, we can see it didn't touch the upper level. It touched the middle level and it completely sold off. So combine these, the support or the resistance and the support levels, with the overbought, oversold, and basically the medium, which tends to be its own support and resistance level at times. You combine those three, you're already very well on your way to being a trader. That will be all for this video. And that will, like I said, that will be all for this video, but be careful with any trading. But I think this is a very good basis to get you to recognize what charts are, to get you to recognize what support is, what resistance is. A lot of the time, support and resistance depend on previous highs and previous lows. You can chart them, you can plot them. Do not look at them too closely, because you can see with the wicks going below and above them, There's a lot more to this science, but try plotting your own charts, try plotting your own tops and bottoms, try plotting your own trades, do some paper trading, and try to see what happens. And obviously there's a lot more information about this in the platform, in the school. Feel free to ask any coach, me or others, for more information about this. But obviously we have a full course on this as well. So yeah, click the link, join the school, check it out, and there is a lot more information about this. But I think this is a very basic video where I go about the basics, and yeah, good luck on all of your journeys.